Okay, well, hey, my name is Gunnar. I work for Salesforce. The stuff I'm talking right now in the next 10 minutes, or actually a few minutes, building Eclipse plugins or OSGI bundles with Bazel is not something I do at work. It's more of a personal topic. I was one of the, probably a dinosaurs when it comes to Eclipse. I was one of the first non-IBM committers on the Eclipse IDE. And so I do a lot of Eclipse extensions in development, and when I started to work on Bazel at Salesforce, I thought I have a couple of other projects, and I thought to myself, well, I like the benefits of Bazel. How can I use it to build Eclipse plugins? So first, how many of you are Java developers, or how many of you are Java developers? How many know about OSGI and use OSGI? Okay, quite a lot. So the way you develop Eclipse plugins is that Eclipse itself comes with its own development extension, like the Eclipse plugin development environment. It provides a lot of great capabilities. When you start writing and developing those, you can actually hit the button and then it launches a new instance of Eclipse with all the, with your extensions that you have in the workspace with the projects, and then you can debug them, and it's very nice, very comfortable to do. So these are special project types in Eclipse, and they have their own class path container they work with, so they do things like dynamic dependency resolution, and then when you launch the self-hosted Eclipse, it resolves them and updates the manifest files. They have this concept of a target platform, so you basically put everything you want to work with in the target platform, and then you don't have to worry about the particular versions. It just picks the one that's available. There is, in the old days, it was a set of AND tools. Then later on, Maven extension came around. It's called Tycho. It's a very excessive extension to Maven, because if you develop an Eclipse plugin and build it with Maven, there's actually no dependency declaration in the POM XML file. It reads everything from the OSGI manifest and then does resolution against the target platforms. So it's practically impossible to just migrate it from the POM XML into a Bazel project, because you don't have anything around there. You can mix and match in the Maven world. You can opt in to declare or define dependencies in the POM XML file. And then there's a ton of additional stuff, the update sites, the P2 repositories, the features, the plugins, how it's going to be assembled and deployed or made deployable or installable into Eclipse application that the Tycho extension implements. Most of this, it actually does not implement itself, but uses P2, which is a Java-based API or framework that's embedded in Eclipse, and it allows assembling all the bits and also is kind of the update mechanism. The important point here, all of this approach is manifest first driven, as we call it. So the OSGI manifest is the source of truth for your dependencies and like your imports and exports. In the OSGI world, it's a little bit different. These days, the very popular tooling is BND tools. This is entirely the opposite from manifest-driven, because it generates the manifest. It inspects the binary class files, looks what dependencies you are actually using, and puts that into the OSGI manifest. Again, it requires some external mechanism to manage the dependencies. That could be the IDE, it could be Maven, it could be something else. It could be Grail. You can still use Tycho, again, for doing pure OSGI development. Not sure I would recommend it, though. And then there's the Maven bundle plugin, which is a lighter version, which basically just wraps any existing jar and generates OSGI manifest data. Then I started looking into, okay, what options do I have in Bazel? I discovered the rules, the definition that are sort of abandoned by the Bazel team, but I found it in the original Bazel Eclipse plugins. They do interesting things. How they generate the P2 metadata and all the other information for Eclipse. It sort of works for that particular use case. But if you want to apply a large scale to a project, it's not working. It needs a lot of it needs a lot of investment to make it going for a larger scale project. Recently I discovered this OSGI rules repository. I haven't tried it, but it looks pretty interesting. It uses BND, and it generates proper manifests. And yes, there's a feature request open, ask for OSGI support. But it's been open for quite a while, so I don't think anything is going to happen unless someone steps up from the community and does it. So, and again, there's a few challenges, especially with OSGI, is first of all, dependency resolution. In Bazel, it's static. You declare the dependencies up front for the packages. In OSGI, especially in Eclipse world, it's dynamic. You have the toggle platform, and then you use whatever you do. And also that's kind of the way the BND tools allows developers. You sort of, depending on your architecture, you define a set of stuff you want to use, and then it generates the actual import statements, so it only inspects and does the limited stuff you're doing, which implies that the build file cannot really be static, right? It needs to be, you need some support for updating it, assuming you want to have a target. The IDE support, it's very, in Eclipse itself, it's very good with PDE and also BND tools. BND tools also comes with its own Eclipse extension. In Eclipse itself, the Bazel plugin, and recently our company started investing into it because we have a huge Eclipse developer base. And deployment, there's a ton of stuff that's basically not available right now. It needs to be done. So I thought to myself, well, what if I start with some opinionated rules? And I started developing it and thought and how it could work and didn't. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. So the Maven, Tycho extension, all the others, that was quite a significant investment. And I expect actually the same to be done for a fair, good environment for the Bazel rules. And realistically, you end up with something that limits the full capabilities of Bazel. So one question that I keep asking myself is like, is it really a good match Bazel and OSGI? Right? You have the dynamic system, dynamic environment. You have versioning at runtime. You specifically want to work and build and operate with multiple versions of the same or of dependencies. And so for now, I put that on hold because I think it's too much effort, and what we have with Tycho works quite well. If I'm happy to hear if there's people in the community that are interested in this and potentially would like to work with me on this stuff. Thank you. Questions? Okay, good. Here's some shameless self-promotion of the other projects we're doing.